Hello, Ozark. It's time for your weekly update. Today, I want to talk a little bit about Deerbrook. It's been getting a lot of press lately. The Springfield Business Journal did a great article on it. KY3 ran a piece on it. The Newsleader did. It's been getting a lot of coverage, and so I wanted to talk about that. And if you're not familiar, Deerbrook is the development that's happening in the northwest corner of 65 and CC. So they announced that there is a Zaxby's coming in, a McDonald's, Come and Go. In the future, there will be more businesses there, perhaps even a hotel. And so I want to talk about how the city was able to work with that developer to bring that project to life. In this case, we have a tool at our disposal. It is called a Chapter 353. So when you pay property taxes on just a raw piece of land, the taxes are pretty low. In the case of Deerbrook, that's like a 22 acre piece of property there. So the property taxes on that piece of land were a few $100 a year. But when you take that piece of land and you build a $3 or $4 million structure or structures on top of it, all of a sudden your tax bill goes from being a few $100 a year to $30,000 or $40,000 a year. So what this Chapter 353 does is it allows us to gradually bring their new property tax online so they don't get hit with it all at once. So they continue to pay whatever taxes they were already paying on the land, but instead of having to pay that $60,000 or $30,000 bill or whatever it happens to be all at once, for the first 5 years, maybe they only pay 80% of it. And then the second 5 years, maybe they pay 60. And then the next five, maybe it's 40, and so on and so forth. So every few years, the tax rate goes up until they're paying 100% of what they should be paying. This helps the developer adjust their cost. It helps the business owners get in and get settled before they get slapped with these big bills, and it attracts development to the community. Now, in the case of Deerbrook, we actually had a second tool we put to use as well, and it is called a CID. So what a CID is, if you have a development that is going to require you to make significant improvements to public infrastructure. So in Deerbrook's case, there needed to be improvements made to the sewer system up there, the water system up there, and 21st Street, which runs right along, it's kind of the outer road of 65 there, had to be brought around so that the intersection for it was down the road away from that diverging diamond. So all of these things were not items that were going to be owned by the development itself. They are improvements to the public infrastructure. So what we do is we put this CID in place. It allows businesses that are in that CID area, in this case the Deerbrook development, to charge a 1% additional tax on sales there. The city collects that tax, and then we use it to reimburse the developer for money spent on public infrastructure. So in this case, Deerbrook spent, I believe it was about $2 million on public infrastructure. So we will collect that tax, that additional tax, and pay it back to the developer until that $2 million improvement has been refunded, so to speak, and then that tax goes away. And again, this allows these developments to happen, these improvements to be made without the city having to pay for all the infrastructure up front. The developer takes on the cost, and then the city reimburses them over time. It's a great program. It worked out well for Deerbrook. I'm very excited to see that development come online. It's going to be a big benefit for the city and for that area. I hope you all have a great weekend. I'll talk to you next week. Goodbye.